So often in brass playing, you have to go for length of breath, and sometimes the very long duration. So you find yourself like, and providing support for that duration. So sometimes you find yourself like putting a lot of pressure on your diaphragm to hold the strength in your upper body, but at the same time, there's probably a certain amount of constriction that happens all through the system that's very difficult to avoid. And I'm not sure that it's always beneficial to have that, have to deal with that duration.
Well, since we paused, Ron, is that right? We'll come back to this. And what if we look at the diaphragm itself and then come back? Because the power would come through the diaphragm, but the breath of the softness, of the elasticity of the tissue would come through the lungs. So maybe there would be a tendency to put some of the diaphragmatic action into the lungs. Mm-hmm. And so maybe let's look at those, at the diaphragm, and then see how that fits in with the lungs. Instead of compressing the lungs, how the diaphragm has strength, but this is soft.
Now I'm looking for the dialogue between these two things. And sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not there.
I'm sure sometimes it's magical, you don't know where it came from. The music is you, or in you. Any other comments before we go to the next thing? Yes.
Can you repeat what you said about allowing the rotation of the heart changes the emphasis? I just like the wording that you said with that. I was just trying to remember. So allowing the rotation of the heart changes the emphasis. The hands, is that what you said?
Yeah, as you're, you have this cavity here that the heart's in. And as, go like this for me, push your instrument, you're going to have to put your instrument down. That when you rotate your fist, it's not like that. The lungs have to respond, right? It's not, if I go like this, there's no rotation of the heart, it's the rotation of the unit. In order to rotate my fist, I have to allow counter rotation in my other hand. Otherwise, if this were a bone and this were a socket, I wouldn't have any movement in that joint. It would go to the next movable joint. I have to have the counter movement here in order for the movement to be in this joint. So the same way with the heart, if I move my heart and lungs as a unit, I'm not feeling the joint between, everybody can do this, it's about a performance, that you're moving your chest, but you're not differentiating your heart and your lungs. But if your lungs and heart, then you can express yourself differently. And this hand has a different quality than this hand. Where if I go like this, there's no difference. So before going to the lungs, why don't we take a few moments to feel that different. You had another comment.
I just want to ask you one more question about this. I think I'm getting an idea about moving the lungs from what we did earlier today. And you talked about moving the lungs around the heart, but I'm not having such an idea about initiating movement of the heart.
Instead of holding it all together, what I'm talking about is this.
Right.
That you're actually rotating your heart. But if they're glued together, the pericardium and the pleura, you're going to go like this.
Yeah. So am I moving my heart by moving my upper body?
No, you're your upper body because you're moving your heart.
I don't have a sense of how to rotate my heart.
Then maybe stop playing their instrument outside and play your internal instrument. Because I made a big leap, right? It's a big leap from, we spent all morning with this. And now, so first of all, so here, I'm moving my lungs around my heart. Can you see here? I'm not moving my arm and my body, but my lungs are moving around my heart. Here, my heart is moving inside. So this would be my right lung, moving around my heart as expressing through my hand, my arm. But now my heart is moving. It's not so big. So if I'm playing here, I have an instrument, it's small, but I could weep for the expression, or I'm expressing my heart. Here it's bigger, and if I'm playing piano or something, I don't know, I don't know what to do here. Actually, I've had 8 lessons. Here, I'm just going to go like that. This is more lung. I'm really feeling my lung. It's expansive. I'm in the periphery. But here, it's my heart. It's more subtle. It's in the center. Or you were doing whatever you do here. Lungs are going to be more, I know you don't call this big movement, this kind of big movement, where heart is like, you want to just get in there at that, whatever it is. Or, I don't know what you do here. The same thing here, this would be more lungs moving, and they're big, they have big range. Where heart is small range, but it's a lot of feeling, a lot of density. Heart has density. The lungs are more light. But this is my story. You have to find your story. Or harmonica, I guess go this way. How do the lungs express through the elbow? And rather than they're just relaxed, and it's your hands going back and forth. But how do your lungs feed into that, which is different than the ribs. But then your heart is smaller. It has more Or the ukulele is small, so you don't have the advantage of a big thing, or the violin is, you have this whole big thing here, but here you've got, how is your heart expressing through here, and how is it coming across? Not the big movement, but that quality. Or as I say, the ukulele, I guess it's this way, it depends. You could just play like this. So I don't know if it's getting clear.
No, thank you.